Hey guys, welcome back. This is Nod Lammers of Invoked 101, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Generaider deck. This is one of those decks I don't really have an extra deck for, just simply because like it can really play a bunch of stuff, and I didn't feel like wasting a whole bunch of different extra deck things on it. So a really small extra deck for this one, but the main deck is pretty solid in my opinion for what Generaiders do. This deck is really strange. It's a very interesting and different type of deck. So. But before we get into it, down in the description there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, and our Ko-fi. So if you feel like backing the channel, that's how to do it. You can check all those links, like I said, down in the description. But like we always do, we're going to set the extra deck and the spells and traps off to the side, and we're going to talk about the main deck monsters. So this deck is actually pretty straightforward. It's basically all about getting out your big boss monsters and kind of swinging for damage and doing different effects. The first guy that we're playing is Dvulgus, Generator of Iron. So what this one does is he lets you tribute generator monsters or machines to summon more generators from the hands with different names in defense mode. And you can only control one of each generator. That is like a clause that is shared by each of them. You can only control one of their names per turn. So like you can't have two Vulgus on board. After that, we have 2 Mardell, the Generator of Light. On normal summon or special summon, she lets you search any generator card from the deck to the hand, which is pretty nice. I think that's all she can do as well. It's like you can only activate, you can only use each effect of them once per turn, and you can only control one, which kind of sucks. So they're all pretty simple. She has 24, so she's actually the most rounded out one of the bunch. He has like a 15, 25, and then, but next up we have the Solemn Strike of the Brute, which is Nidhogg, Generator of Ice. He's a Wyrm, and his effect is when your opponent would special summon a monster, quick effect, you contribute 1 generator or Wyrm, negate that summon if you do destroy that monster. You can only use this effect of Nidhogg once per turn. So pretty cool. And we're almost so then the next guy we play is 2 Nagflar, the boss of fire, and this one lets you tribute a generator or a beast warrior to protect a monster that would be destroyed by battle or card effect, which is pretty nice. He's the biggest one with 3,100 attack. Like, he's insanely big. Next up, we have one of the best ones, which is Hela, Generator, boss of Doom. This is the zombie generator, and honestly, like, probably one of the best ones. Like, this one and the plant one are probably the most useful overall. It says you can only control 1 Hela, blah blah blah. Quick effect, you contribute a generator monster or a zombie monster. Target a generator or zombie in your graveyard with a different name than the attributed monster had on the field. Special summon that monster in defense position. So that's pretty cool. Oh, I forgot to mention, Mardell can also search like any plant monster. So after that, we have the one-ofs, which is 1 Frody, Generator, boss of swords. This is the warrior one. Honestly, he's like really bad. So his effect is you can only control 1, and then he has a quick effect where you contribute any number of generator or warrior monsters, target that many monsters on the field, destroy them, then your opponent can draw cards equal to the number of monsters destroyed on their field. So yeah, he kind of sucks. He's 25, 2000, so he actually also has like kind of low stats, but it's whatever. Then we have the non-generators in the form of Idli. So Idli says, level 9 monsters you control can't be destroyed by card effects. And then it says you can only use each of the following effects of her once per turn. It says if the total link rating of the monsters on the field is 8 or more, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. This card is special summoned while your opponent controls more link monsters than you do. Send all link monsters on the field to the graveyard. And she has 21, 21. We're mostly playing her as protection for the level 9 guys. We can summon this by its own effect, and we can also summon it through World Legacy Monstrosity. And the last card we play is 3 Lone Fire Blossom, because this deck desperately needed something to get it going. You can also play the Draconet and Galaxy Serpent to search out World Legacy Monstrosity to summon out Ibli. You can do that if you want. I was also talking to one of my buddies who plays this deck as well, and we were talking about adding Edia and Edios into the deck as like some more normal summons along with a 1-for-1, so experiment with that as you will. That is it for the monsters. Moving into the spells and traps, the first thing we play, of course, is 3 Generator Boss Quest. So this is their kind of search card for the whole deck. It is pretty good. It says reveal 1 generator monster in your hand, and if you do, add up to 2 generator spells or traps with different names from each other from your deck to your hand, except Boss Quest. Then place the revealed card on the bottom of your deck. You can only activate 1 quest per turn. So yeah, pretty good card, being able to search out any 2 generator pieces. Next up, I'm playing 2 of the Generator Field Spell. I don't think you need more than 2 of the Generator Field Spell because you do have the trap card that can activate this from the graveyard. So I don't think you need more than 2. You can play 3 if you want, but I think 2 is just fine. So unfortunately, the bad part about generators is they are a field spell deck. So its effect is once per turn, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, except during the damage step, which this can activate during draw phase, you can special summon 1 generator monster from your deck in defense position. If you special summon a generator monster during your opponent's turn, except during the damage step, again, it can activate in draw phase, you can special summon as many generator tokens as possible in attack position, but destroy them during the end phase. Even if this card leaves the field, you can only use each effect of boss stage once per turn. So yeah, pretty crazy card. And of course, we have the 1 terraforming to go with that. Now, I'm a bad player, and I actually end up playing 2 Loot in my deck. Loot says, while you control a token, your opponent's monsters cannot target generator effect monsters for attacks. And then it says, if a generator effect monster is destroyed by battle, your opponent draws 1 card. You can only use this effect of boss Loot once per turn. I mostly play this just as a piece of back row for protection, so that way your opponent can't swing into your big guys at first. They have to swing into the tokens first, and that's the main reason I play this. I play 2 mostly as another card to add off of quest, so if I need to search something, this just gives me another target to search. After that, moving into the generic spells, we have triple World Legacy Monstrosity. Like I said, if you're going to be playing this deck, you really do need a play set of this, because this card is undeniably good in this deck. It says the main effect of it is special summon 1 level 9 monster from your hand. That is the best part about it. The other effect is target a level 9 monster you control, special summon from your deck 2 level 9 monsters with different original type and attribute from that face up targeted monster, and with different names from each other. But these 2 monsters can attack, also destroy them in the end phase. So this lets you summon Jormungandr with or True King of Calamities with like 3 materials, which is pretty awesome. It's a very good card, and it's insane in this deck. It's fantastic. After that, because this deck is super fragile, we are playing triple Called by the Grave. You kind of have to play this because this deck, like I said, is super fragile. And then the last spell I'm playing is triple Dark World Dealings. Thank God this came out in Mystic Fighters. This card is, it says each player draws a card and discards a card. This is basically just to get the effect off of the field spell going, so that way you can special summon a generator monster during your turn off of the field spell, even though it does give your opponent a draw, but that's not the important part. Alright, that's it for the spells. Moving into the traps, we have 2 Generator Boss Room. This is the continuous trap that they have, and my spells are like leaking into the shot. This is the continuous trap that they have, and it says when your opponent activates a card or effect, in response to the activation of your generator card or effect, you can discard 1 card. Your opponent's activated effect then becomes each player draws 1 card. You can only use each effect of this card once per turn. So that's pretty funny. It's not, my camera's not focusing. That or this card's just really funky looking on the viewfinder. That might be it. It might just be the colors. Then we have 2 Generator Boss Fight. I believe this is the one that activates it from the deck. Activate 1 generator field spell directly from your deck or graveyard, then your opponent draws 1 card. Yeah, so this is the one, and it turns on the field spell instantly because it lets your opponent draw a card, and so now you get to use a field spell's effect to special summon a generator. Then we have 1 Boss Bite. This card isn't very good. Again, this is more so just stuff to play. It says, tribute any number of generator monsters, then target 1 face-up Xyz monster you control, attach exactly that many generator monsters from your hand, field, and or graveyard to it, except the monsters tributed to activate this effect. You can only activate 1 Generator Boss Bite per turn. And now that I read that a little bit closer, that is actually the worst card I've ever read. Do not play this card. This is Monster Reborn. Don't play that. That is awful, actually. Next up, we have a much better card, Appropriate. So Appropriate is really good in this deck and kind of invaluable. Because you're giving your opponent a bunch of draws. This says every time your opponent draws a card off a card effect, you get to draw 2. So very nice and a little bit of recursion. Then we have World Legacy Secret. this basically just lets you reborn. It says, when this card activates, target a level 5 or higher monster in your graveyard, special summon it. And then when this card leaves the field, destroy that monster. And then it has a thing to do with Mech Knights, but that's not important. The main thing about it is that it is a continuous trap that is for our generators specifically, and we can summon it in either attack or defense position. So yes, very nice little card that I saw it in my binder. I was like, oh, that could work for these guys, so I have no problem playing that with this. And that's it for the traps of the deck. And that's it for the main deck as a whole. And like I said, the extra deck is very small because realistically, all you have to do is play Calamities. And he's really the only thing you need to play. If you don't know what Calamities does, he changes the types of all monsters on the field. And monsters in your opponent's possession that have that same type that he called out for the turn cannot activate their effects. So that's pretty cool. So like if you call out Dark and your opponent plays a Dark deck, not only is everything on the field changed to Dark, their Dark monsters like in their possession cannot activate effects. So anything, or like you call out Fire because you don't want them to like use Ash on you or something. Ash can't activate its effects, and all cards on the field become Fire. So anything they summon becomes Fire. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, and on top of that, he has 3,000, so he's pretty big. Then I'm playing 2 Yormonger, Generaider of Eternity. This is the only other guy I'm like playing permanently in this deck along with the Calamities. You can play any number of Link monsters with this as well. Like you can play generic Links such as Borreload, Borrelsword, Masquerena if you really want to. I wouldn't recommend it. You can also play just really anything, any Link monster you want because you can save the tokens using the Fire guy. So yeah, you can link into whatever you want and play the Links that you feel like playing. Yormonger's effect is 2 plus level 9 monsters, so 2 or more, and it says you can only you control 1 Yormonger, Generaider of Eternity. This card's original attack and defense become 1,000 times its number of materials. Quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card. Each player draws a card, then each player that drew attaches 1 card from their hand or field to this card. You can only use this effect of Yormonger once per turn. So whatever he does, when he activates his effects, he will always gain 1 material. So you can summon him with 2, end the turn with him with 3, and then you can keep going and he'll be a 3,000 beat stick, which is pretty nice. But yeah, that's it for the Generator deck. It's a pretty straightforward little deck, and it is one of those decks that's like, hopefully is going to get better with time. They are getting another, the Generator of Lies in the next set, which is pretty exciting. I'm excited to see how that guy helps the deck because he is basically a better version of Swords. So that's nice. And then we are getting that level 9 discard draw card, which should help out the consistency of this deck a little bit. And then we also supposedly are getting another field spell, which is going to be pretty cool. I'm interested to see how that works. So hopefully this deck will see some nice little updates in the future. And I want to know what you guys thought about this build in the comments below. Anything that you guys think will help, let me know and I'll see what I can do with this deck, and hopefully we'll get a casual locals going with this at some point. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and if you feel like supporting the channel, down in the description there's a link to our Patreon, our Teespring, and our Ko-fi, so if you feel like supporting the channel, that's where to do it. All those are in the description, and I will see you guys in the next video.